The smug, arrogant smiles of the aliens vanished instantly as the human transmission crackled through the council chambers, shattering their dreams of conquest and filling their hearts with unprecedented fear. I am David Martinez, Director of Terran Defense. Earth is off limits. Any act of aggression will be met with overwhelming force. The council members stared in shock at the holographic visage of the human. He appeared primitive and weak. How dare he presume to dictate terms to the Galactic Empire? Tsar, the ruthless Moravian ambassador who had been leading the charge for invasion, slammed his fist on the table. These humans are nothing. We should enslave them all and take their resources for the glory of the Empire. But as Martinez continued, a creeping dread filled the room. You believe us primitive because we have not yet mastered interstellar travel. But while you expanded outward, we expanded inward, unlocking technologies you cannot fathom. Our scientists have harnessed artificial black holes as power sources. We have inertia-negating engines that allow near-light speed travel and self-replicating nanobots that can disassemble ships or planets in mere hours. Murmurs of disbelief and fear rippled through the council. It had to be a bluff, didn't it? You think your command center's location is secret? To prove we are not bluffing, Martinez rattled off a string of coordinates. The Grand Counselor paled, eyes wide. Those were the exact coordinates. How could they possibly know? A hissing sound filled the air. Council members leapt to their feet as a microscopic wormhole opened in the center of the chamber, and a cloud of shimmering nanobots poured out, swarming over the walls, which began to disintegrate before their terrified eyes. Then, as abruptly as it began, the disintegration stopped, and the nanobots crumbled to inert dust. A small demonstration, Martinez said coolly. Our defense grid can detect and neutralize your ship's light years from Earth. But we have no interest in war. Leave us in peace and we will not trouble you. Persist in this foolish course, he smiled coldly, and I will leave you with this. Humanity does not start fights, but we will finish them without mercy or hesitation. Earth is our home. Threaten us, and we will unleash hell the likes of which you cannot imagine. The choice is now yours. The transmission ended, leaving a deafening silence in the chamber. The council was frozen in shock and horror. Earth, a world they had dismissed as primitive and ripe for conquest, possessed technology that dwarfed their own, technology that could devastate them effortlessly. But as the fear settled, a new emotion emerged, greed. Earth's secrets could propel the Empire to unimaginable heights of power if they could take the human home world swiftly enough. Tsar, eyes gleaming with avarice and ambition, broke the silence. They lie. They must. No primitive species could have such capabilities. I say we call their bluff and seize their world and technologies for the Empire. Strike hard and fast, and they will crumble. The council erupted into frenzied debate, fear and greed warring in their hearts. The Grand Counselor called for order, his voice trembling. We must vote. The fate of the Empire hangs in the balance. The chamber descended into chaos as shouts of disbelief and outrage echoed off the walls. Some called for caution, urging restraint in the face of an unknown foe, but Tsar would not be dissuaded. He thumped his hand on the table, his voice rising above the din. We are the Moravian Empire. We bow to no one, least of all some upstart primitives from an insignificant backwater. Emperor Zoltar, I beseech you, let me lead our forces to crush these insolent humans and seize their secrets for the glory of the Empire. Emperor Zoltar rose from his throne, his eyes glinting with malice and greed. You shall have your chance to prove yourself, Tsar. Take our finest warships and bring me Earth. Tsar wasted no time. He raced to the staging grounds where the Empire's most formidable ships were docked, row after row of gleaming warships bristling with weapons that had subjugated 100 worlds. Tsar strode to the flagship, barking orders, driven by a burning need to humble the arrogant Terrans. As the mighty Moravian fleet surged toward Earth, consoles suddenly lit up with urgent warnings. Sensors had detected an unknown force waiting at the edge of the solar system. Tsar stared in disbelief at the holographic displays. A band of matte black ships hung in space, tiny compared to the Imperial Armada bearing down on them. Tsar sneered. This was Earth's vaunted defense? A pittance against the might of the Moravians. Full attack. Tsar roared. Wipe them from the stars. The Moravian ships opened fire, a storm of destructive energy strong enough to reduce continents to molten slag. But as the salvos reached the Terran fleet, they simply vanished, swallowed by an invisible barrier. The human ships emerged unscathed, sleek and deadly against the starscape. Before Tsar could process this impossibility, the Terran ships retaliated. Lances of pure black, like holes punctured in the fabric of space itself, stabbed out at the Moravian fleet. They pierced shields as if they didn't exist, boiling through hulls and detonating ships from within. Tsar gaped in horror as his armada crumbled, their defenses useless. The human ships darted and wove through the destruction with a fluid grace, as if the physics of inertia held no sway over them. Martinez's image flickered to life on the monitor, his expression grim. This is your final warning, Moravians. Withdraw or be destroyed. Tsar snarled in defiance. Never. We will never yield to. The bridge suddenly lost power. The ship lurched sickeningly as if caught by some immense, unseen force. Damage alerts wailed, and Tsar felt his gut clench as he saw the readings. A black hole had opened up nearby, and his ship was caught in its gravity well. But that was impossible. He whirled as the bridge doors opened. Martinez stepped through, flanked by a squad of human soldiers in midnight black armor. They moved with unsettling speed and fluidity, their weapons trained on the bridge crew. Your fleet is lost, Tsar. Surrender and order your forces to stand down. You will face trial for your crimes against humanity. Tsar edged his hand towards his sidearm. He would not be dictated to by these primates. As his fingers closed around the grip, a super soldier moved, crossing the distance between them in a blur. A meaty fist crashed into Tsar's skull like a meteor impact, pulping flesh and bone. Tsar crumpled. His face caved in, dead before he hit the deck. Martinez signaled his troops, and they vanished in flares of light. Moments later, the Terran ships pulled back, leaving the shattered remains of the once proud Moravian armada drifting amongst the stars. Empress Vela paced the halls of her palace, barking orders to contain the spreading unrest. When news of the disaster reached the Moravian systems, shock and horror gave way to riots and open revolt. Emperor Zoltar was dragged from his throne by a furious mob. She activated a comm channel, steadying herself. This is Empress Vela. I hereby assume control of the Moravian Empire. My first act is to sue for peace with the Terran people. All hostilities will cease immediately. Any further acts of aggression are expressly forbidden. As the transmission ended, Vela gazed out at the stars, wondering what this new age would bring. The Moravians had been humbled, their arrogance shattered. The galaxy had shifted on its axis. Far away, David Martinez walked through cheering crowds, waving to the citizens of the world he had helped defend. He could see the questions in their eyes, the awe, and the hint of fear. He knew this was only the beginning. Behind closed doors, clandestine councils convened. Shadowed figures traded whispers. Some saw Earth as the key to unrivaled power, their technology a prize to be claimed at any cost. Others looked upon a new threat rising, already planning the Terran's downfall. In the halls of power and the chambers of intrigue, a new game had begun, with Earth as the prize. The future was uncertain, but one truth was clear to all. The galaxy would never be the same again. David Martinez wiped sweat from his brow as he hunched over a disassembled Moravian engine. The cavernous lab hummed with activity as his team pored over the alien technology. "Sir, you need to see this," called Dr. Chin, waving him over to a holographic display. Martinez's eyes widened as he studied the schematics. Their power generation is completely different from ours. It's like comparing a steam engine to a nuclear reactor. Exactly, Chun nodded. But look what happens when we integrate our inertial dampeners with their propulsion systems. The simulation showed a ship achieving speeds far beyond what either technology could do alone. Martinez's mind raced with the possibilities. Get R&D on this immediately. I want prototypes within the month. As Earth scientists delved deeper into alien tech, the Galactic Council convened. The massive chamber was packed, filled with representatives from 100 worlds. The humans must be contained, bellowed the Relian ambassador, his tentacles writhing. Their weapons could destroy us all. And become the next Moravians, countered a small furry delegate. I say we reach out to them. The enemy of our enemy is our friend. Shouts and arguments filled the air. In the shadows, deals were struck and alliances formed on the Altarian homeworld. David Martinez stepped off his shuttle, flanked by Jack Reese and a small security team. The spires of the alien city gleamed in the purple light of twin suns. Welcome, honored guests, purred an Altarian diplomat, her iridescent skin shimmering. We have much to discuss. Martinez nodded cautiously. Indeed we do. The meeting proceeded smoothly at first. The Altarians shared breakthroughs in genetic engineering that left Martinez's team in awe. But suddenly, alarms blared, and Martinez's mind raced. What's happening? He shouted as an Altarian scientist vented hisses, releasing a green mist. Gas filled the air, and Reese yelled, reaching for his weapon, but it was too late. The humans collapsed, choking. Martinez's vision swam. He felt a fire in his veins, his cells screaming as the virus rewrote his DNA. Then, something snapped into place. Power surged through him. He leapt to his feet, smashing through a steel door like it was paper. Around him, his team was undergoing similar transformations. What have you done to us? Martinez snarled, lifting an Altarian by the throat. Impossible, the alien gasped. You should be docile slaves. Martinez tossed him aside. Jack, we're leaving now. They fought their way to the hangar, their new strength and speed making them unstoppable. Reese hotwired an Altarian ship, and they blasted off into space. Back on Earth, Martinez wasted no time. He assembled a strike force, equipping them with reverse-engineered Altarian biotech. The assault on the Altarian homeworld was swift and brutal. Martinez's enhanced troops cut through their defenses smoothly. Within days, the Altarian leadership was in chains, their world occupied. As news of Earth's latest victory spread, the galaxy reeled. On 1,000 worlds, generals pored over star charts, plotting invasion routes. Diplomats whispered in backrooms, forming coalitions. And on Earth, the first Altarian refugees arrived, seeking shelter from their own people. The debates raged fiercely. We can't trust them, shouted protesters outside the United Nations. It could be another trap. But Martinez stood firm. We will not turn away those seeking freedom, he declared to the world. Earth must be a beacon of hope in a dark galaxy. As Altarian scientists integrated into Earth's labs, humanity's technological growth exploded. New medicines, faster than light drives, weapons that could shatter planets. Earth's capabilities expanded at an unprecedented pace. In the corridors of the Galactic Council, fear turned to panic. The humans grow too powerful, whispered a cloaked figure. We must act now before it's too late. Others counseled caution. Perhaps we can still find a peaceful solution, argued an elder statesman, before this Cold War turns hot. All eyes turned to Earth, to Martinez. The fate of the galactic realm hung in the balance, and the greatest challenges were yet to come. The aftermath of the Altarian incident sent shockwaves through the galaxy. The Galactic Council, once dismissive of humanity, now viewed Earth as a grave threat. Emergency sessions were called, filled with heated debates and accusations. These humans are too dangerous to be left unchecked, shouted the Relian ambassador, slamming a tentacle on the podium. We must bring them to heel before it's too late. After days of deliberation, the Council issued its ultimatum to Earth: submit to their authority or face dire consequences. David Martinez stood before the United Nations, his face grim as he addressed the assembled world leaders and billions watching via holofeed. The Galactic Council demands our subservience, he declared, his voice steady. They would strip us of our hard-won sovereignty, reducing Earth to a vassal state. I say no. We will not bow. We will not yield. Earth stands free. Cheers erupted from the assembled delegates, echoed by crowds in cities across the globe. But celebration quickly gave way to grim reality as the Council's retaliation hit home. Trade routes were severed, human ships were barred from alien ports, and the flow of vital resources from off-world colonies slowed to a trickle. Martinez pored over reports in his war room, surrounded by holographic displays showing dwindling stockpiles. "We need to think outside the box," he muttered. That's when inspiration struck. He authorized a bold plan. A fleet of stealth mining ships to harvest resources from uninhabited systems beyond Council space. The ships slipped past patrols, their advanced cloaking technology rendering them invisible to sensors. Months passed. Earth's economy stabilized as new materials flowed in. But Martinez knew self-sufficiency wasn't enough. They needed allies. Enter the Zuri Collective. These cyborg beings had long been wary of the Galactic Council's dominance. They saw in Earth a potential ally against the hegemony that had kept them in check for centuries. Negotiations with the Zuri Collective were delicate but promising. Martinez and his team worked tirelessly to build trust, sharing Earth's technological advancements and the promise of mutual defense. The Zuri saw the opportunity to tip the balance of power in their favor and strike at the Council's control over the galaxy. As Earth and the Zuri forged their alliance, tensions in the Galactic Council reached a boiling point. Hardliners demanded swift and decisive action against Earth, viewing it as a threat that must be neutralized before it grew stronger. Diplomats from other factions advocated for restraint, urging negotiations and compromise. In the shadows, unseen forces maneuvered. Secret agreements were made, covert operations launched, and spies infiltrated key positions. The galaxy teetered on the brink of open conflict, with Earth at its epicenter. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Martinez and his team continued to push the boundaries of technology. Reverse-engineered alien biotech fueled advancements in medicine, energy production, and defense systems. Earth's military grew more formidable by the day, bolstered by Zuri technology and tactics. In the halls of power, Martinez faced internal dissent. Some factions questioned his leadership, fearing his bold actions would provoke the Council into a war that Earth might not win. But Martinez remained resolute. He knew that Earth's survival depended on its ability to stand up to the Council's tyranny. The situation escalated when a Council fleet attempted to blockade Earth's access to vital resources from off-world colonies. Martinez responded by deploying the newly formed Terran Defense fleet, a formidable force equipped with state-of-the-art Zuri weaponry. The first skirmishes were fierce and bloody. Earth's forces, led by Martinez's strategic brilliance and the Zuri's combat prowess, inflicted heavy losses on the Council fleet. But the Council was vast and powerful, and they were determined to bring Earth to heel. As the conflict escalated, Martinez sought to rally support from other independent worlds and factions within the Galactic Council. Diplomatic channels were reopened, and emissaries were dispatched to negotiate alliances and military support. The galaxy held its breath as the fate of Earth hung in the balance. Would Martinez's gamble for freedom pay off, or would Earth be crushed under the might of the Galactic Council? In the midst of the chaos, a new threat emerged. A rogue faction within the Council, emboldened by Earth's defiance, sought to exploit the turmoil for their own gain. They launched a series of covert attacks aimed at destabilizing Earth's alliances and sowing discord among its leaders. Martinez and his allies faced a race against time to uncover the traitors within the Council's ranks and thwart their plans. Meanwhile, the conflict escalated into full-scale war, with battles raging across star systems and alliances shifting with each decisive engagement. On Earth, the population braced for impact as the war spread beyond the stars. Cities were fortified, underground bunkers expanded, and civilian militias mobilized to defend their homes and families. In the midst of the chaos, Martinez remained determined to protect Earth and its allies. He navigated the treacherous waters of galactic politics, forging alliances and alliances with unlikely allies, and alliances with unlikely allies to bolster Earth's defenses and secure vital supply lines. The Terran Defense fleet, now augmented with Zuri technology and battle-hardened from numerous engagements, became a formidable force in its own right. Martinez's diplomatic efforts bore fruit as more independent worlds and disenfranchised factions within the Galactic Council pledged their support. Together, they formed a coalition against the Council's tyranny, pooling resources, intelligence, and military strength. As the war raged on multiple fronts, Martinez faced relentless challenges. The Council's forces were relentless, deploying advanced warships, formidable ground troops, and sophisticated tactics honed over centuries of dominance. Each battle was a test of Earth's resolve and ingenuity. Despite the odds, Martinez and his allies scored significant victories. They disrupted supply lines, liberated occupied worlds, and inflicted heavy losses on Council fleets. The tide of public opinion began to shift as stories of Earth's bravery and resilience spread across the galaxy. But the conflict took its toll. Earth suffered devastating losses, both in lives and resources. Cities lay in ruins, ecosystems ravaged by warfare, and millions displaced from their homes. Martinez bore the weight of these sacrifices, knowing that the fight for Earth's freedom was far from over. In the midst of the chaos, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A dissident faction within the Council, disillusioned with their leadership's warmongering and oppression, defected to Earth's side. They provided critical intelligence on Council fleet movements, vulnerabilities in their defenses, and hidden supply caches. Armed with this insider knowledge, Martinez orchestrated a daring offensive. The Terran Defense fleet launched a series of coordinated strikes against Council strongholds, exploiting weaknesses and catching their adversaries off guard. The momentum shifted in Earth's favor as they reclaimed lost territory and gained strategic footholds. But the Council, unwilling to concede defeat, escalated their efforts. They unleashed devastating new weapons, deployed elite commando units, and launched propaganda campaigns to undermine Earth's alliances. Martinez and his team countered with innovative strategies, adaptive tactics, and unwavering determination. The war entered a decisive phase as both sides mobilized for a final, cataclysmic confrontation. The fate of Earth and the galaxy itself hung in the balance. Martinez knew that victory would require sacrifice, courage, and unity among allies who had once been enemies. In the heart of the conflict, Martinez stood before the people of Earth, his voice echoing across continents and through the depths of space. "We fight not just for ourselves," he declared, "but for the future of all free beings in the galaxy. We will not falter. We will not yield. Earth will prevail." The rallying cry reverberated through the Terran Defense fleet, inspiring soldiers, civilians, and allies alike. They fought with unparalleled determination, pushing back against overwhelming odds and forging a path to victory. As the final battle loomed on the horizon, Martinez and his allies prepared for the ultimate confrontation. They honed their strategies, fortified their defenses, and rallied their forces for a united assault against the Council's last bastions of power. On the eve of the battle, Martinez reflected on the journey that had brought them to this pivotal moment. From a lone voice of defiance to a beacon of hope for the galaxy, Earth had risen against tyranny, united allies, and defied the odds time and again. Now, as the fate of Earth and the galaxy hung in the balance, Martinez knew that their struggle was far from over. But with courage, determination, and the support of their allies, they stood ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The stars shone brightly above Earth, a testament to the resilience and spirit of humanity. The galaxy awaited the outcome of their struggle, poised on the edge of history. And amidst the chaos of war, hope burned brightly in the hearts of all who fought for freedom, justice, and a future where all beings could live in peace. As Martinez looked out at the assembled forces, united under Earth's banner, he knew that their fight was not just for themselves, but for the promise of a better tomorrow. A tomorrow they would forge with their own hands, no matter the cost. The battle began at dawn, a clash of titans among the stars. Ships roared through the void, weapons blazing, as ground forces clashed on distant planets. The galaxy held its breath as the fate of Earth and the Council hung in the balance. In the end, it was not just the strength of arms that determined the outcome, but the resilience of spirit, the courage to stand against oppression, and the belief in a future where freedom and justice prevailed. And as the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded, Earth emerged victorious. The Council's forces were shattered, their fleets scattered, and their grip on the galaxy broken. Martinez stood before the remnants of the Council, offering a hand of peace and reconciliation. "Let us forge a new path," he declared, "one of cooperation, mutual respect, and unity. Together, we can build a galaxy where all beings thrive." The galaxy, scarred by war but filled with hope, looked to Earth as a guiding light, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity and the power of unity in the face of adversity. And so, as Earth began to rebuild and heal, Martinez knew that their journey was far from over. The challenges ahead would be many, but with courage, determination, and the support of their allies, they would continue to shape the future of the galaxy. A future where freedom, justice, and peace prevailed for all.